New Right Network. Mobilizing, countering the left, energizing the right. New Right Network, home of the New Right movement.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to New Right Network's original series, SmythTV. Your host, Brian Smith, giving you all the breaking news, wrapping it all up, making sense of it, exposing the fake news, and giving you the real news. This weekend was an awful busy weekend, incredible weekend for the Avengers End Game. We've got a very special guest at MAGA Rose Taylor, an incredible interview. She's a huge fan of Avengers, and we'll give you the breakdown. No, just a heads up, no spoiler alert. We're not going to spoil the movie whatsoever for those of you who still haven't seen it. But apparently, it was a blockbuster over the weekend, grossing $1.2 billion worldwide. That's a big one, y'all. That's a big one. So we'll have that interview with her here shortly. Also, updates on Sri Lanka. And now we have another situation in synagogue out in San Diego over the weekend, as well as a situation in Baltimore, Maryland. Donald Trump was busy this weekend up in Wisconsin. Huge rally. I mean, it's already here. 2020 is already here, y'all. Donald Trump getting ahead of the game. And that's why incumbents have it a little bit easier. First off, Donald Trump's got a proven track record. His track record speaks for itself. And secondly, Donald Trump doesn't have to compete against anybody. As you remember, in 2016, there were 17 candidates running on a GOP ticket. And out of those 17, Donald Trump had to whittle away all the way down to just him, Ted Cruz, and then we voted Trump. So that took a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of energy. Well, now the Democrats have to do that. And on the Democrat part, they have, I believe it's over 20 candidates running. Joe Biden, again, jumped in the fray. We've got some information on him. It breaks my heart, y'all. I didn't see The View. He was on The View on Friday, and I did the report on Joe Biden on Friday. And as soon as the show was over, I got the video clip of what Joe Biden said on The View, and it made blood shoot out of my eyes and wherever. Oh, my goodness. So we'll get into that. Whistleblower comes out. And now being interviewed, the biggest scandal in our entire history of America, 242 years. The deep state coup, that's what it was. Full blown. And now all the information is coming out. I have that as well. And then Brennan's making his rounds on the news outlets, and Brennan is starting to pop up. Brennan's getting a little bit nervous. And Brennan's becoming unhinged and just lashing out against Trump and everyone else. Brennan's one of the dirtiest of the dirty dogs, the head of the CIA, along with him and James Clapper. James Comey reportedly will be the first one to be indicted. Brennan and then Clapper. We'll wait to see how that plays out. But these guys should be testifying in front of Congress. And matter of fact, congressmen are screaming. Rand Paul is coming. I get Rand Paul and Paul Ryan mixed up because both of them got me triggered. Rand Paul voted against the Trump executive order to fund the border wall, which throws him into the same heap as Paul Rhino Ryan. He also voted for Mitch McConnell and not a Tea Party favorite. Anyways, okay. That would get sidetracked. But Rand Paul comes out and he's tweeting out some great information about this deep state, about the coup, and information that he is getting from high-level sources, which is phenomenal. I'm just absolutely excited about it. A lot of MAGA news that we're going to get into. Donald Trump effect, the Trump effect, if you will, as a world leader, well respected. You're able to get things done, unlike the former president. Not well respected and pretty much couldn't get anything done. And then if we have time, we've got immigration, and I won't have time for this, but France and the globalists. France is falling. France is out of control. The yellow vests are taken to the streets still, week after week, day after day, clashing with the police. Just violent riots throughout Paris. And now Macron getting egged over the weekend. Apparently, people just fed up with Macron, egging him and screaming, F you, Macron, chanting it at a soccer match. So Macron and the globalists are falling apart there in France. Doesn't look like France is going to get their freedom anytime soon. So as we start out, we'll go ahead, jump right into it. We'll do the Avengers review right after we get to the news of the day, and then we'll wrap all that up real quick. And also look in the show notes below for the link to Rose Taylor's article on the full article. She just lists out every single thing, really dissects it, picks apart the movie, the Avengers End Game. Read the article. It's phenomenal. It'll give you all the details, and probably should see the movie first if you don't want spoiler alerts, because the article just goes into it and really, really dissects it, and then sets it up for the next saga to begin. Apparently there's 4 sagas. This was the close of the third. So just jump right into it. We've got updates on shootings. I posted this up from the internationalbusinesstimes.com. Sri Lanka bans the burqa. Countries that have prohibited Islamic face coverings for women. Hashtag Monday morning. So some of the countries that have also banned the burqa: Denmark, you would receive equivalent to American dollars, $157 fine in Denmark. Cannot wear anything covering the face. Exceptions include helmet and cold weather garments. You see the link down there. You can read the entire article. Other countries on the banned burqa list include the Netherlands, Austria, with a fine of up to $167. Bulgaria, which we've reported on Bulgaria here in recent times because they're begging for their country back, and it looks like they've been taken over by Islam as well. So wearing a burqa in Bulgaria could result in a fine of up to $855. France, you wear the burqa and you risk a fine of $167. And this is breaking news as we go live today. This came out, breaking news, at Sarah Carter, D.C. Breaking: Islamic State leader Abu al-Baghdadi is alive. New video shows. This guy is if it's true, if the video is true and he's still alive, this guy was the leader of ISIS. Some refer to it as ISIL. If you go to Wikipedia, it says he was the leader of ISIL, tapped as the leader in 2012, and responsible for all kinds of bombings and murders and suicide bombings and killings. Just a really, really bad dude. Hasn't been seen in about 5 years. There have been audio releases of him speaking, but this is the first in 5 years of a video. Apparently, he's commenting on Sri Lanka and the bombings there that have killed up to, I think we're over 365 mostly Christians in Sri Lanka that were killed by Islam. And so he's talking about that in this article as well. In the video, he's talking about it. And America, the United States, has issued, still on the table, a $25 million reward for the lead 2 his capture. Some people, I thought he was already captured at one point in time, but as I got into it and started reading it, it was said that he had been captured, but then mistaken identity. It was another high level leader and not him. This may back that up and prove that he's still alive. I'd like to find the other 5 Taliban leaders that Barack Obama released to the wild in exchange for traitor Bo Bergdorf. Probably won't get any answers on that. And Christians and Jewish alike, the Judeo-Christian ideologies are under attack. We know this. We see this. It's under attack worldwide. And over the weekend here in America, it hits home on the West Coast in San Diego. This at thegatewaypundit.com. Poway synagogue shooter left a manifesto, calls President Trump a Zionist, anti-white, traitorous expletive. And police searched a home in San Diego today following the shooting. Quote, "We have come across what appears to be a manifesto for the Poway synagogue shooter. He identifies as an Anon from 8chan board. He claims he was inspired by the Christchurch shooting. His manifesto is filled with SHI posting and should be taken literally." And this post up by at ODONNELL_R, Rob O'Donnell. Part of the alleged Poway synagogue shooter's manifesto. Bottom line, he hated everyone and wanted to kill, but when confronted by armed warriors was a coward bitch. Yes, this individual was nothing more than an absolute coward. This is another heartbreaking story and just unfortunate that we live in a world where there is hate and anger. And as a society, we need to find a way to deal with this. And this is heartbreaking that I ran across on Twitter. Murdered today, Lori Gilbert K. Wishing the family the strength they will need to get through this horrific tragedy. Wishing the others hurt a refuge. May Lori's memory be a blessing. And who is Lori? This by the JewishJournal.com. Mourning the loss of Lori Gilbert K. Today at synagogue, an anti-Semitic murderer shot and killed my friend Lori Gilbert K., age 60. Lori, you were a jewel of our community, a woman of valor. You were always running to do good deeds and gave a charity to everyone. Your final good deed was taking the bullet for the rabbi to save his life. This is one of those stories that pulls at your heartstrings, folks. This is just so tragic and so unfortunate. Her husband was there, who is a doctor, and that's... I'm married myself, and I couldn't even imagine being in this situation. But it is true. She did, and she's the only one so far that has been confirmed that has died. But she went ahead and she took the bullet for the rabbi. The rabbi then shot also in the hand, but kept on with his sermon, didn't stop, and called for calmness and peace. And the shooter has been subsequent. That was it. The one woman and 2 others shot, and that was it. There's just a lot of evil out there, and we've got to confront it one way or another. And understand, though, that it truly is more and more and more as time goes on. It truly is. You got to see, we are in the midst of a holy war. We are in a war against Islam. We are in a war against bad and evil, the dark versus the light, and we've got to stick together. Continue to pray about it. God has something to do with everything. For whatever reason, God has something to do with everything. And for whatever the reason is, we may never know. But understand that now in times like this, that we need to turn to our Bibles and turn to God, turn to Christ and pray. Develop and work on your relationship and understand that that is the most important thing that you could possibly do for yourself and your family and your friends. This at the Gateway Pundit mass shooting in Baltimore, young black man walked up to a cookout and shot indiscriminately and ran away once someone in the crowd returned fire. This by WMAR at Abby Isaac 6 News. Police looking for one suspect at the moment. All they say, they know it is a black man who came up on foot, started shooting, then ran away. One person has died and 6 others hospitalized. Apparently, this was near a Baptist church, and there were a crowd of people huddled around with a cookout, a Sunday afternoon cookout, and it's not quite known the connection of the shooter, the church, whatever it is. Those are still developing as we speak. Folks, you just got to pray about it. Some of these things are just out of our control. We can't control them. And now the thing that Donald Trump is in charge of and controlling is this coup. Trump has come out already and called it a coup d'etat, an attempted coup, a failed coup. And we know this to be a fact. We've been following it for the last 2 years. We've been following it on Twitter, on social media. Been following it through Dan Bongino's done a phenomenal job with it. And I've got to give, actually, I'm sorry, Dan. I got to give props to the people who were on the front of this at the very, very beginning, the Epoch Times. Epoch Times, however you pronounce it. You absolutely, I've got a subscription to them now, but that is where all this information came from. Just exposing Spygate. They called it Spygate. Dan Bongino's book is called Spygate. There's been subsequent books written about this, and it is all coming to, and this at Sweeps Fox, treason against our Constitution is real, taking on the CIA, NSA, FBI. Take this video advice on board guard. Our values support Trump against the swamp Marxism. Arm yourself. Dark left violent is coming.
I'm Greg Cutter. Welcome to USAWatchdog.com. With us, a former CIA officer, top officer with top clearances. He, at one point in his career, had a high enough clearance to protect the CIA director. I mean, you can't protect him across the room. You've got to be standing on top of him many times and hear what he is saying. That's how high the clearance is. He also wrote this book. I'm giving it away. Spoiler alert. Kevin Shipp from the company of Shadows. Very relevant book. Still today, came out about 7 years ago, but it's still on sale. Very great information. Kevin Shipp, of course, I'm bringing on right now, the former CIA officer, whistleblower, expert in counterintelligence. I'm just kind of glossing over your resume. Kevin Shipp, thanks for joining us today to try to make some sense about what's going on.
Greg, it's good to be with you as always.
Let's start right here. In the pre-interview, we were talking about how big this is. How big is this, as the president says, attempted coup, attempted takedown of a duly elected president? That's what the president says, Donald Trump. I heard him say it this past week. How big is this?
Well, we all know that Donald Trump knows what's going on before he comes out in public and says it. Yes, this is a coup. This is the most shocking violation of the Constitution and criminal activity in the history, not just of America, but of a Western government. Much of this rises to the level of treason. People need to understand how shocking this is. It was a clear conspiracy. There will be some indictments, I think, without question. When in reality, the collusion was on the other side, the information in this so-called dossier came from Russian intelligence, the information they tried to use against Trump. This was a coup. It was a conspiracy. It was criminal activity, several violations of Title 18 U.S. Code. These people need to be indicted. They need to be charged, and they need to be put in prison. And if they're not, then our Constitution is nothing more than a sham, because this was a coup against a duly elected president. People need to understand how serious this is.
Well, when you take a look back on it, I had you in the pre-interview. I said, this involved the FBI, the DOJ, the CIA, the NSA, the director of national intelligence and all the agencies he's running, the State Department. It involved, the United Nations with powers and the unmasking of all the names. It involved foreign spy agencies. It involved Five Eyes. It involves the Bureau of Land Management. Does it not? That's what this whole Bundy thing was. I mean, they showed up with guys with body armor and attack dogs over a grazing dispute.
And as you can see right there, whistleblower. This is big. This is as big as it's ever been. All this information is starting to come out. And again, as I said at the very beginning of the show, John Brennan is should be lawyering up and should be getting more lawyers than the average person in trouble. John Brennan's in a lot of trouble. Lots of trouble, and he was on MSNBC this past weekend saying that well, here I'll let you have them put it to you, but this was
and has been talkative lately, including on Hannity overnight. Sean Hannity over on Fox News, his first sort of interview, if you will, in depth since we've seen some of these developments from the Mueller report, and he invoked your name. And I want to play what he had to say.
I really say now we have to get down, because this was a coup. This was an attempted overthrow of the United States government. These are sick people. These are sick people. So let's see what happens with McCabe and Comey and Brennan and Clapper. They were in the act. And let's see what happens, and let's see how high it goes up, because it's inconceivable when it goes to Clapper, Brennan, Comey, these people. I would imagine that some other people, maybe a little bit higher up, also knew about it, and maybe a lot higher up.
So that's the president alleging that you, among others, were in on the act for some kind of an attempted overthrow. How do you respond?
Well, I don't think it's surprising at all that we continue to hear the sociopathic ramblings of Mr. Trump claiming that there was this effort to try to prevent him from being elected or to unseat him. And I welcome any type of, continued investigation in terms of what we did during that period of time that we were in government. And I've testified in front of Congress.
And you would do it again?
Absolutely, I'll do it again. And so people have called for me to do it, and Rand Paul and others, they make these very specious allegations that have no basis in truth, but they put it into the bloodstream, and then unfortunately certain networks will propagate that.
John Brennan is in a lot of trouble. John Brennan was part of this entire coup d'etat, the overthrow of a duly elected president. And as he mentioned, he was upset about Rand Paul tweeting out about John Brennan, which made John Brennan a little upset. Rand Paul tweets out, "Breaking, a high-level source tells me it was Brennan who insisted that the unverified and fake Steele dossier be included in the intelligence report. Brennan should be asked to testify in Congress under oath." And I absolutely believe that he should testify under oath. This was a definitely, his fingerprints are all over this entire thing. He should be brought to justice. He should be brought quickly. A friend of ours at the Gateway Pundit, nervous John? ? Brennan blasts Trump's sociopathic ramblings, denies participating in a coup. There's the video, and I just played you the video. And at the end, if you jump down at the end of the article, Brennan is nervous because his fingerprints are all over Spygate, and we now have a real attorney general who believes spying did occur during the 2016 election. Brennan perjured himself in a May 2017 testimony when he said that he did not include Hillary's phony dossier in the IC report. There is plenty of evidence to the contrary, and Brennan should be asked to testify under oath to Congress ASAP. Yes, absolutely testify. There should be an investigation right away. Well, I don't even know why this is even taking this long. I know it's the government. I know that they take forever, but we absolutely need to get this hammered out. This has to be done. These people have to face justice immediately. We've got all of them, whether it be Comey, Brennan, Clapper, why Peter Strzok is not been indicted yet. It's beyond me. I've been told that Attorney General Barr has a handful of indictments already, and those to come down this week or next. So we just have to stay tuned. But yes, John Brennan getting very nervous about some of these things because of his dastardly deeds, and he will come to pay for those. Not only that, but the great article here at MRN Tweet 2, evidence Brennan and Clapper hacked the FISA court judge, Reggie Walton, and Comey covered it up. Hashtag deep state. This by bigleaguepolitics.com. Evidence is now circulating among lawmakers in Washington that makes the case that Obama administration intel officials, John Brennan and James Clapper, hacked then FISA court judge Reggie Walton, in addition to Supreme Court Justice John Roberts. Big League Politics expose on the alleged Roberts hack has rocked the corridors of power. Now we have more information coming to light about the FISA court, which infamously held no hearings regarding the fraudulent FISA warrant applications to Severo Carter Page and, by extension, other members of President Trump's team. There's more. James Comey, henchmen at the FBI, are proven to have covered it up. And tapes released by federal judge G. Murray Snow, preserved on a whistleblower SoundCloud page. Yes, that's correct. A whistleblower has come forward and has now given testimony and evidence to show how bad this was and who the players were in the background orchestrating this coup d'etat. And I'm trying to get through everything real quick because we've got our special guest in our interview coming up here in just a few minutes. But let's get to the Destroy Trumpers. This is, I talked about this last week. Judge Napolitano, ouch, at the Gateway Pundit. Real Donald Trump, hashtag Trump, destroys Judge Napolitano. Trump tweeted out and said, ever since I said no to his Supreme Court request, he's been very hostile. Ouch. So now we know why Judge Napolitano took the wrong stance on Donald Trump. Mueller report, sorry, not the memo, the Mueller report, why he took the wrong response and saying that he believed that Trump was guilty of some kind of obstruction or something in the court case. Judge, you're not ruining your reputation, man. I don't know how much longer you're going. Well, I know Fox News likes that, so they'll probably keep him on. But yes, Donald Trump revealing over the weekend that Judge Knapp approached Trump and begged for a Supreme Court judgeship. No, man, you ain't getting the seat. You just not. It's amazing. Trump called it and called it right. Trump also tweeted this out over the weekend. Thank you to the brilliant and highly respected attorney Alan Dershowitz for destroying the very dumb legal argument of Andrew Napolitano.
When the president asked Corey Lewandowski, his former campaign manager, to get Mueller fired, that's obstruction of justice. When the president asked his then White House counsel to get Mueller fired and then lie about it, that's obstruction of justice. When he asked Don McGahn to go back to the special counsel and change his testimony, that's obstruction of justice. But ordering them to break federal law to save him from the consequences of his own behavior, that is immoral, that is criminal, that is defenseless, and that is condemnable.
Do you agree? Is this obstruction of justice?
I do not agree. I think Judge Napolitano is terrific, and we often agree about the law. But in my introduction to the Mueller report, I go through the elements of obstruction of justice. The act itself has to be illegal. It can't be an act that is authorized under Article 2 of the Constitution.
So firing the FBI director?
It's not even a close case. Look, the best analogy is President George H.W. Bush pardoned Caspar Weinberger on the eve of his trial in order to stop the Iran-Contra investigation. The special prosecutor said he did it for that reason. Nobody suggested obstruction. It can't be obstruction of justice if the president is acting within his authority. Nixon obstructed justice because he acted outside his authority, destroying evidence, paying hush money, telling...
Yes, it's not hard to make the argument that Donald Trump did not collude with Russia nor did he obstruct. And again, we've been told by Comey that Comey said to Donald Trump, "You are not under investigation. So how could you obstruct something that you did not even know was going on?" And then, oh my goodness, this was out of control. Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton they did a video spot where she's all salty and failed. The Gateway Pundit did a whole article on it. Read the description below. The link's down in there where Hillary Clinton reads portion of the Mueller report where she says he's effed. Man, I'll tell you what, I wish they'd just go away. Just you are an embarrassment to this country. You continue to be an embarrassment to this country. And the more that you continue to show your face in public, the worse it's going to get for all y'all. I will be excited the day that we see you behind bars for criminal acts.
I'm incredibly proud to have served with him. The thing I'm proudest of is, what are you proudest of in your administration? I know what I said. It turns out he said the same thing, and probably a little more clearly than I did. That not one single whisper of scandal.
Not one.
Not one single whisper. And that's Barack Obama.
That's right.
That's because of Barack.
I know. He's amazing. So,
This posted up by our friend at A Red Pill Report. Wrong again, Joe Biden. Obama administration so corrupt, 70 inspector generals urged Congress to stop Obama IG crackdown. So that's what I was talking about on Friday on The View. Joe Biden says that he's so proud that there wasn't a hint of scandal during his tenure. It makes my head explode. I'm beyond words with these people. The lies, the deceit, all of it, rewriting of history, unbelievable. It's just so off. The lies are so thick that you choke it on them. And this over the weekend as well, which was very, very unfortunate. The New York Times colluding with the DNC, colluding with Hollywood and media. And you can see there The View colluding with Joe Biden, saying, yes, you're right. Yeah, we loved Obama. Yeah, no hint of scandal whatsoever. And you clearly see the scandals. So it's the New York Times working with the globalist agenda. This at KISHKUSHKAY, K. Wilson. Picture number 1. The Jew leads Winston Churchill, Nazi Germany, 1940. Picture 2, the Jew leads Donald Trump, New York Times, USA, 2019. There's picture number 1. And picture number 2. Yes, this was the New York Times over the weekend. If you have a subscription to the New York Times, I suggest you canceling it right away. You could be implicated in to some kind of anti-Semitism. Very, very bad. Very, very wrong. The left gets away with this kind of hate all the time. We are no longer standing up for it, and that's why we do the show, to report on it and expose this hateful liberal media. All right, everybody, our very special guest, Rose Taylor, one of the writers over at New Right Network. Check the description below to the link to her article, as well as her handle on Twitter at MAGA Rose Taylor. Absolutely pleasure to have you here, and I'll actually put your handle up on the board there so you folks can follow at MAGA Rose Taylor on Twitter. And we are doing what we promised to do. I promised you I'd bring you the interview of Avengers End Game review. I've just been told it's the last movie of the 22-part saga. For those of you going to laugh at me, I don't know anything about this, so this would be a great interview to find out what's going on. So, Rose, what's going on?
Oh, so much. What do you want me to just tell you about the movie or what?
Yeah, so you went to go see the movie over the weekend, and let's go all the way back to the beginning. You're a big fan of the Avengers, right?
Huge fan. I'm specifically a fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Some people don't know the difference there. There you got the Marvel comics and the Marvel cinematic universe, the MCU as people call it. There's some Marvel fans that have followed Marvel all the way from the comics. I'm more of a movie purist, so that I don't get my opinion of the movie ruined by the comics.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad that you clarified that, because I remember as a kid having the comic books, and now this feels like it's different, and it just seems like it's two different things.
It is. They're intertwined, and a lot of times the comic stories, the movie follows the comic stories more closely, but they do take some liberty and some writer's privilege and change things up.
Okay, all right. And so this weekend was a blockbuster weekend, apparently one of the biggest weekends for Marvel, maybe?
Yep, $1.2 billion worldwide.
Holy, wow.
Yeah, huge. Smashed box office numbers.
Wow. And so what were the numbers here in America?
350 million here in the United States.
Wow, that is big, man. So, okay, so you went there. You went with yourself and a crew.
Yeah, we had 12 people.
Oh, wow. How about that? Was a blast. Okay, so you wrote the article about it, and please leave a little bit left so folks will want to go read the article. But kind of tell us what's going on with the movie, and kind of give us a feel for it.
Okay, spoilers or no spoilers?
I don't know. You tell me.
I'll leave the spoilers out of this and let you read the article for the spoilers.
Okay. Matter of fact, I did that on your last article for the folks. I told them to go read to find out who tipped his hat to Joe Biden, gave the first said to Joe Biden, he supports Joe Biden. I told him to go read your article for that one. But
yeah, so okay, well, the End Game obviously is, like you said, one of the last movies in the Infinity saga, which was comprised of about 22 movies. The Avengers title is only on 4 movies. You've got the Avengers, Avengers Age of Ultron, Avengers Infinity War, and Avengers End Game. But all of the movies, we've got the solo movies, starting with Captain America, the First Avenger, all of the Iron Man movies, the Thor movies, the Spider-Man movies. All of these tie in to what Marvel has done in what they call their Phase 3.
Okay,
and that's important.
Okay, well, then, all right, good. Then I'll ask you this, because I love Iron Man. I think I really enjoyed those movies, and they lost me when all of a sudden Iron Man's hanging out with everybody else. I'm like, what the hell? What just happened? I lost Iron Man. Okay, so he's part of this whole thing then.
He's part of the whole thing. If you watch the movies now, Captain Marvel came out recently. It was last month. And that sort of gave a big insight into how it all ties in. Nick Fury, who is a SHIELD agent, he met Captain Marvel was the first superhero type creature that he met. And that was Captain Marvel. He was starting this Protectors Initiative during that time frame. When he met Captain Marvel, he changed it to the Avengers Initiative, because Avenger was Captain Marvel's call sign when she was a pilot for the U.S. Army.
Oh, wow. I had no clue. That's awesome. Okay.
So, Nick Fury is the one who decided to gather together these superhero beings, these people with extra abilities, whether it be self-made, like Tony Stark, or, someone that was born that way, like Thor, or someone that was changed, like Captain America, Captain Marvel, these people who were regular people, something happened to them and it changed them into a super being, and to assemble them together to protect the world and eventually the universe. So that's important to know, because we have all these solo films like Iron Man, right. And then they tie in because Nick Fury pulled them all together to assemble them.
Okay, all right, fantastic. So this is number 22 in the saga, and I mean, there's no, we're not going to do spoiler alerts, but there's no spoilers here. But I mean, I was listening to a radio talk show host this morning, and he said his daughter was crying the whole weekend. She cried afterwards. She cried the whole weekend. Apparently, a bunch of people, things happened that were not expected.
Absolutely. Things definitely happened that were not expected. Things that I'm still not too sure that I'm happy about. And I cried as well.
Wow.
You can read the article. I'll go more into detail on that, why it was important and why it had to happen, and what could possibly happen in Marvel's Phase 4, because this is not over. It's Endgame for the Infinity Saga, but Marvel is rolling out Phase 4, and there's some very interesting things that could happen on the heels of this movie.
Phase 4 would still include the same. Forgive me for being not dumb or not know. Would the same characters be in the next one?
The same characters that are left.
Oh no! Somebody died.
Possibly.
Oh,
I don't
no.
know that you can say that anyone's ever actually dead.
Right.
But the same characters that are still around, whether they be not around because they choose not to be, or they be not around because something happened, we're not going to go there.
Okay.
Should be part of Phase 4. So the 22 movie was just an arc all leading up to what happened in the last two Avengers movie, the Infinity War and the End Game.
Okay.
End Game wrapped up what happened in Infinity War, which did you see that?
No, man. No. I think my daughters were watching. I think my daughters were watching that over the weekend. I think they rented it from the library and they were watching the Infinity War. Yeah, maybe
to get ready.
Is that the one where? Yeah, I think I did see that one, a little bit of it. Yeah, where like everything they were in the city and everything was big giant monsters and stuff, and they're trying to stop.
Okay, so that was probably Age of Ultron.
Oh, okay. All right, man.
That's what happened in New York. So in Infinity War, that's been a year now, so we can kind of touch on that a little bit. There was a lot of things that happened before Infinity War. One of the main movies you have to see before that is actually Captain America: Civil War, because in that movie, the Avengers were being, rounded up by the government, and the government wanted to control them more, because in their quest to protect humanity and stop the big monsters in the city from destroying things, they cause a lot of damage. Because it happens, especially you got like the Hulk, Hulk smash.
Right.
Hulk smashes lots of things.
Carpe Dunktum did a meme on that and put the DNC's symbol over the face of that alien coming through the city.
Hey, it's very accurate. You could do a lot of political parallels with these movies.
Oh wow!
Especially because if you think about that, the Avengers are there to protect and to serve and to be a force of good against evil, but the government sees this opportunity to stop them and to control them, and that caused a split in the Avengers, and they were fighting against each other, and which caused a lot of fallout.
Wow!
In Civil War.
Wow!
So at the end of Civil War leads right into what happens in Infinity War. The Avengers are kind of split up. They're all off in their own, doing their own thing, and this mega villain Thanos is in search of the Infinity Stones. The Infinity Stones have been in the story for a very long time, in and out of the movies, even if you didn't realize it. And each stone wields a certain power. You've got a space stone, reality stone, mind stone.
Oh, hey, okay. Then my daughters were watching the one with Samuel L. Jackson had an eye patch and told Tony Stark, "No, man, you can't go." And Tony's like, "I got a new stone. Look, I'm good." And he's like, "No."
That one. I still think they were watching Age of Ultron.
Okay.
Because, like I said, the stones have been throughout the movies quite a bit. And in Infinity War, Thanos set on a mission to gather all 6 stones, because if he had all 6 stones that can control reality, space, time, mind, soul, everything, his mission was to erase half of the universe, half of humanity, every living creature in the universe.
Wow.
And force them to start over and be grateful that he got rid of the waste.
That sounds like a bad dude.
Yeah, he's a totally bad dude. And as much as they fought against him, everyone came together. We got Guardians of the Galaxy. We've got all the Avengers. We've got, everyone, the Black Panther, Wakanda, everyone coming together to try to stop him. And key moment from Infinity War, I'll tell you, for Endgame, is the moment when Doctor Strange, yes, Doctor Strange is involved in this too, if you didn't know. the moment when Doctor Strange, who is in possession of one of the stones, he's the one that protects that stone. He is sitting in a position, and he's going through all of the different scenarios because he's got the time stone, so he can see what's going to happen. So he goes through 14 million and one scenarios of what could be the outcome, and he tells them only in one situation do they win. One.
Oh, so the odds are 14 million to 1.
Yes.
That's some bad odds.
That's some horrible odds.
That's bad.
Horrible.
I think that's an impossibility.
Right. Well, you really think that when he decides to give the stone to Thanos to save Tony Stark, Iron Man's life, and essentially makes it possible for Thanos to complete his mission and snap his fingers with the Infinity Gauntlet on and kill half of humanity, but Tony Stark survives. That's very key for the next movie, for the end game.
All right. Okay, cool. Man, I just impossible odds. That makes for a good movie when the good guys are up against impossible odds.
Yes, absolutely.
So, the crowd at the theater, with a lot of people crying, booing, cheering, applauding.
There was all of it.
Really? So the crowd was actually motivated in during the movie.
Yes, Marvel fans are invested. This has been a long journey.
Oh, okay.
So when things happen, you get it during all the movies. You get crying, you get clapping, applauding. Some people stand up. I mean, the theater was completely full.
Now, did you get your tickets way in advance, early in advance?
I bought them a week ahead of time, and we got there an hour early, and we still didn't get the best seats in the house.
Oh man! Oh, that's awful! Wow. So and apparently there was a line already an hour early.
Yep.
And
they let us go in and get our seats, but there was already about half the theater full an hour early.
Wow, that's amazing. And with the numbers, apparently the numbers worldwide, you said 1.2?
1.2 billion.
Billion?
With a B.
Holy smokes. Man, it just encourages them to make more.
Right. There's no way this is over. They're not going to let that franchise go.
Oh, that's big money, right? That's enough to save an entire organization. I believe it was Sony Pictures that was saved by the one Spider-Man movie. Sony was owned by a Japanese company, and I think they were going to pull the plug on the movie aspects of it because it was failing for like 11 years straight. And then Spider-Man, one single movie, when it first came out, saved the entire operation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it can do that. And now we have the new Spider-Man, which I know they keep redoing Spider-Man, but this is the Spider-Man within the Avengers. Spider-Man's an Avenger now.
Oh, what? I saw a preview about that. This Spider-Man is now a kid, but it's a different kid.
Yep, it's a different kid because they had to go back. They couldn't keep the same actor who,
is now older.
It wouldn't fit with the timeline.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw the preview for that coming up. Oh, well, I guess maybe I'm gonna be forced to take my daughters to see this movie.
Oh, they haven't seen it yet. You have to take them to see it. They have to know what happens.
I'll have them read the article first.
No, don't do that.
No, I'll just play games. I'm joking. Yeah, well, maybe I'm gonna have to take them. And out of 5 stars, what would you give the movie?
I would give it a 4.5 because I'm still salty about some of the things that happened.
Oh no! Oh,
That's
wow.
all I'm going to say about that. But 4.5, it would be a 5 if something hadn't happened.
Wow. Well, it sounds like a fascinating movie. Sounds like apparently with all the money that it made, there's a lot of interest in it. And this is part 3 of another part 4 to come. And again, folks, check the description below for the link to the article. One of our great writers, Rose Taylor, over at New Right Network. And yeah, is there anything else you want to add? But that was fantastic.
Yeah. I'd like to give people who have not seen the movie yet, I'd like to give them just a little piece of advice before they go.
Oh, yeah, good.
Okay, so what I would say is, 1, prepare for to be emotional, which you're probably aware of that if you've seen the other movies, but definitely prepare for it to be emotional, good and bad emotions.
Okay, so box of tissue.
Yes. 2, go with an open mind, because there are some things that happen that need to happen that you may not want to happen. But once you're calmed down from your emotions and you think about it, you'll realize that it had to happen.
Okay, so be flexible.
Yes. And 3, pay close attention, because there's some things that were dropped that you may not realize at first, but sets up for things to happen in the future, which I'll discuss in my article.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay, great. Again, check the description below. Follow at Maga Rose Taylor on Twitter, one of our great writers over at New Right Network, newrightnetwork.com. All the stuff's down in the description below. Thank you so much, Rose, for coming on. Thank you for the review and the updates, and thank you for writing the article. Wow.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thanks for having me on. I love to talk Marvel. Have me back anytime.
I definitely will. You'll have to keep me abreast on all the things Marvel. Definitely.
I will.
All right. See you later.
See you later.
Okay, so that'll wrap that up. I'll cut that up. There's a lot of good visuals I can probably put into that.
Okay.
And again, this is incredible. Donald Trump because we've got to wrap this up. Great news, Donald Trump rally, the Trump rally that was in Wisconsin over the weekend. This was incredible. Trump on display as usual, doing what he does. This at THENINRICH 22. When have you ever seen a president that loves we the people like this?
The poverty rate for Wisconsin families has reached the lowest rate in 22 years. The unemployment rate for Wisconsin workers has reached historical. It's never been this low before. Ever, ever, ever. Think of that. Never been historic low. And we're now the #1 economy anywhere in the world, and it's not even close.
Donald Trump getting people fired up in Wisconsin. There were overflow crowds once again, people camping out overnight because you got to get yourself a good seat. If you're going to go to see a Trump rally, you got to get yourself a good seat. And just absolutely excited. Donald Trump just really engaged with the people, just absolutely love this president for his candor, his abilities, and his strength to weather the storm of the awful hacks in the mainstream media. And this again from the hacks, as Trump responding to the hacks in the media at St. Clair Ashley.
Well, I think that I just feel like a young man. I'm so young. I can't believe it. I'm the youngest person. I am a young, vibrant man. I look at Joe. I don't know about him. I don't know. I would never say anyone's too old, but I know they're all making me look very young, both in terms of age and I think in terms of energy.
That hysterical Uncle Joe is, he think he'll be 78 when 2020 comes around. So I think he's like 77 right now. And again, the Trump effect, we'll round this up on good news, the Trump effect, oil falls after Trump presses OPEC to make up for the Iranian sanctions. How great is that? When Donald Trump taps OPEC and says, yo, guys, nah, man, open up the spigots a little bit more. We need to bring down the prices a little bit too high. And then our friend at Thomas 1774 Payne, Donald Trump renegotiates $40 billion Japanese car plants coming to the U.S. You don't hear these things about this economy and how the economy is just really taken off and really rip-roaring. Couldn't be more excited about it.
In fact, Trump does deserve credit. Trump has had the first year and a half in office, has been the best year and a half in office for any president that I've ever seen. And I've seen almost everyone from George Washington on. He's just done a fantastic job on the economy.
When Lighthizer in there and he's got his checklist, that he can go even tougher on the Chinese now with this kind of wind at the back of the U.S. economy. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, I agree. And well, look, it's a blowout number, and I'll just say that President Trump's policies are rebuilding the economy. And actually, the prosperity cycle we're in is gaining, and it's gaining momentum. So I think that's extremely positive. Let me also add, the inflation rate continues to slip lower and lower. And actually, by the Fed's own measure, the PCE deflator for inflation has dropped from 2.2% last summer to 1.4% this winter. Even according to the Fed's own spokespeople, from the chairman on down, that could open the door to a target rate reduction in the months ahead. The Fed is independent. I'm just expressing my own view. The president happens to agree with that view. So I'll just put that in there.
How can you be talking about a rate cut after a 3.2% GDP print for the first quarter?
Well, because, look, this is, again, by the Fed's own lights, David. They are now targeting inflation, which is coming in way below their own benchmark metric of 2%. So I'm just saying, look, here's a point. Supply
They do
side.
have a dual mandate, Larry. They do have a dual mandate.
Right. But it's not growth that we worry about. As inflation has come down, growth is actually improving, or at least sustaining a 3% growth rate. So I basically like that story. Look, supply side tax cuts, deregulation, opening the energy sector, pro-growth trade reform. That's improving the supply side, the production and investment side of the economy. One stat that's very interesting from the durable goods yesterday, from December through March, core capital goods spending, core CapEx as it's called, is actually growing at a 10% annual rate. That's a terrific pickup. And at the same time, we saw a huge retail sales number in April. So what I'm saying is we are clicking on all cylinders. The inflation rate is coming down. The Federal Reserve will be looking at that. I know old style analysis says fast growth means higher inflation. You know, I've never bought into that. I still do not buy into that. What you're getting now is more goods and more production and more output, 3.2% in Q1. That actually is chasing less money, and so therefore the inflation rate's coming off. I think that's very significant.
Donald Trump really making America great again. And we here at New Right Network, our goal is to keep America great. After Donald Trump's out of office, 2024, it is our job, yours and mine, to continue this movement of continuing to make America great again. Crush to share, crush to like, send this to your friends and your family. Tell everybody about New Right Network and our show, SmythTV, Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. You get all the real news right here. And thanks to our incredible writers over at New Right Network. Please go over and visit them, newrightnetwork.com. And thank you so much to our at MAGA Rose Taylor writer who did the review on Avengers End Game, the 22-part movie, third saga, fourth one to come. I don't know, guys. All right, everybody. Get out to the theater, see it, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'll do it. All right, till tomorrow. Have a good evening.
You've been listening to New Right Network, mobilizing, countering, energizing. Online at newrightnetwork.com.